Are you ready? Vote for Vedika! Vote for Vedika! Vote for Vedika! This was what I was doing just a few months ago. Instead of running for treasurer, the uncontested position, I was running for freshman president. And I was running with 5 other contestants. And let's just say I wasn't the most popular, but I still took the chance. And guess what? I lost. But the experience and the confidence that I gained was much better. Microsoft may have never existed if Bill Gates hadn't dropped out of Harvard after his second year. Do you think we would be enjoying iPhones today had Steve Jobs not taken a chance by dropping out of college to start Apple? They both had assured careers had they stayed where they were. We all have worries and fears that stop us from taking risks. And it's those very worries and fears that have plagued our society into avoiding risks. Today, risk aversion is responsible for taking the flavor out of our lives, impairing innovation, and ultimately even impeding our economy's growth. It's a chance the outcome won't be the one desired that prevents many from taking risks. We cannot grow until we take risks, and we can never be at our best if we don't grow. And we most certainly cannot be happy and at our full potential if we don't show the world our best. So, let's explore why there aren't more Bill Gates and Steve Jobs in the world, then learn how we can hope to have more of them in the future. As you look back in your career and life, do you wish you'd been a little braver, trusted in yourself more, been less cautious in the chances you took? Have you guys ever gone skydiving? I mean, sure, it's scary to jump off a plane and be like, I hope I'm not gonna die, but it's worth it, because after a few seconds, you see a view that only a handful of people get to see. According to psychologists F.D. and Bart, the danger that most of us seem to fear the most is the feeling that we cannot control the outcome. So most of us avoid doing the things that we believe will not have a good outcome. This fear prevents us from either giving an unprepared speech or asking our very first crush to the dance. Our society is afraid that by making certain decisions, we may lose the approval of people closest to us. And this may happen initially. However, the majority of the people will be inspired by your courage and your ability to take such a big risk. They will be inspired by your belief and passion. Our society spends too much time listening to the negative voices of others and to our own doubts. Too much time focusing on the perception than the problem. We're always looking for this perfect time, the time when we're guaranteed to succeed. However, there's always going to be a possibility of failure. The qualm at the mention of failure is bred by us kids watching our parents grow up, avoiding risks due to fear. And what do? We pass on that same fear of failure. Muhammad Ali once stated, "He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. We'll be stuck in the same spot, unable to grow. Our dreams will stay dreams." If Steve Jobs hadn't dropped out of college to start Apple, chances are we wouldn't even know what an iPhone is today. Similarly, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of inventions that we don't have the faintest clue of, simply because we're unwilling to take risks. We're just too afraid to step out of our comfort zone. Neil David Waltz once said, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." Our lives will eventually become dull and tedious. We may not see the effects immediately, but after a few decades, we will start to see them. Walt Disney and so many other celebrities were just like us before they became successful. However, today, Disney makes billions of dollars off of merchandise, movies, and theme parks all over the world. However, success didn't arrive on a platter for Disney. He had a myriad of failures before he finally became successful. He was first fired by a newspaper editor because he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. Then, he started multiple businesses, which all eventually became bankrupt and didn't last very long. Now, of course, we can't forget about Colonel Harlan David Sanders, the founder of KFC. He was fired from dozens of jobs before he finally founded the Kentucky Fried Chicken empire. He traveled all across the U.S. trying to sell his fried chicken to someone, finally landing a business deal in Utah. Now, KFC is one of the most recognizable franchises and has over 18,000 locations. Now, let me tell you something. That popcorn chicken is a bomb. It's delicious. You know what? If you guys ever want to ride, just talk to me after. Now, Walt Disney and Colonel Sanders both showed us that hard work and perseverance can take us anywhere. There's no finer example other than J.K. Rowling. She had just gotten a divorce and was on government aid, and she could barely afford to feed her baby in 1994. When she first tried to get Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone published, she couldn't afford the cost of a computer or even the cost of photocopying a 90,000-word novel, so she manually typed out each version to send to publishers. She was rejected dozens of times before Bloomsbury, a small London publisher, finally gave her a second chance after the CEO's 8-year-old daughter fell in love with it. Let's not forget that before success came, she had a myriad of failures and had to work very hard. The only difference between role models like them and us is that they're willing to take risks, and each time they keep getting back on their feet, while we're too afraid to even try. Gary Racer once stated, "Life's tough, that's a given. It's no secret, you'll fall down, you'll stumble, you'll get pushed, you'll land square on your face. But every time that happens, you get back up. You get back up just as fast as you can, no matter how many times you need to do it." If people back then didn't take risks, we may have still been in the Stone Age. We need to believe that we can do anything and not be afraid by the possibility of failure. According to psychologist Augustine Fuentes, failure teaches lessons and enables forward movement, even if on a different path. Being human means failing often. It is the human ability to imagine, to hope, and to work to seemingly impossible or improbable goals that play such a core role of why we are here on this planet. Having hope and acting on that hope and being able to retain that hope even after a setback is central to human innovation and to our future. Whenever we have a feeling of fear before we take a risk, think about all the benefits you'll get if you succeed. Don't think about what happens if you fail. There are thousands of reasons of why we shouldn't take a risk. However, for every 1,000 reasons, there's always one good reason of why we should take the risk. And that one reason must be stronger than all those other 1,000 reasons. Because everybody follows the same path in life. However, there are a handful of people who take the other path. They take the one that's less traveled. Those people are the risk takers and stand out from the rest of the crowd. You could either look at failure as the end of a chapter or the beginning of a new one. Looking at it the latter way will inspire thousands of people, especially children, that hard work and perseverance can take them anywhere. There are over 7 billion people in this world, and the majority of them, they don't even know you exist. Things like taking risks will not only increase your self-confidence, it will also, your existence and work will also impact others. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs both are only two of the many successful people who took risks in their career. As a society, we need to encourage each other to take risks. Sure, risks can be nerve-wracking and terrifying, and sure, you may experience failure upon failure, but eventually you'll taste success. No matter what, it'll be worth it at the end. We need to remember that risk can be successful as long as we have passion, perseverance, and belief. Gandhi once said, "Life is a message, so make it your inspiring one." Bill Gates and Steve Jobs both had inspiring lives. Take risks and rise above them. Thank you.